everyone. I wanted to give you guys a little lesson on how to apply concealer. I noticed that there's this trend going on that we need to have under here as bright as possible, and I think it's an awful trend. Scrolling through Instagram and Facebook and everything, all I'm seeing is like crazy light reflection under your eye and like almost like white under your eyes. It's really not attractive. It's not pretty. So I wanted to tell you a few tricks about how I apply concealer and how I use it. And as you can see, I have plenty of things to cover up thanks to stress and hormones. Gotta love your skin. My favorite concealer when I'm not using airbrush is Tarte Shape Tape. It's literally a lifesaver. I love it. One of the main reasons I love it is because it doesn't move. It doesn't move around, it stays put. So I always start by putting my foundation on first. So for today, I have like a really light like BB cream on right now because let's face it, I'm not going anywhere but my living room. And then I put my concealer on top. So even if I'm using a heavier foundation, I still always put my concealer on last. If I had somebody that had like extreme dark circles or extreme blemishes, I would probably do a layer of concealer, then foundation, and then more concealer as necessary, depending on the coverage that I need to do. But for concealer, it's important to not go super light. So I always tell people pick either the same shade as your foundation, the same shade as your skin tone, or go one shade lighter. There's no need to go 2 shades, 3 shades, 5 shades. There's no need for that because that just makes you look not natural. It makes you look fake. So when I use it, I'm gonna dab it right under my eye. And I'm gonna dab some of these ugly little suckers. But I'm really focusing on the under eye on how to apply. So when I do concealer, even on people, I use my finger, obviously nice and washed. I just washed my hands. And I always pat. I never rub at it. Rubbing just makes it dissolve and go away. So I literally start by patting, right? And when I'm working, I don't work just under my eye. So a lot of people just layer just right here, and I actually need some more. But you don't want to just do there. You want to bring it out. So I kind of go down, and I kind of almost like feather it out. So think about like sun rays and it being feathered out when you're doing it. And then I always take the extra and go over my eyelid. And I just keep patting at it. And go right along that line. You see, it just blends in very well. Sometimes I get under there with my pinky. I like the Shape Tape because it dries pretty matte, but if you have dry skin, it's not in your best interest. Make sure you moisturize first or prime. Same thing when I go over blemishes. I pat, tap. I don't rub. Rubbing gets you nowhere with concealer. If you need more, you can just keep reapplying right on top, but keep tapping. See, I already see that kind of brightened up my under eye. I shouldn't have put anything on this side so you could kind of see the difference, but you can kind of see from here. I'm gonna rub this guy in down here. And actually, I have a little bit too much, so I'm kind of switching fingers so that I get some of the product off. So chance. Okay, so now on this side, I'm going to show you more just under the eye, because you can see where this, blending it into your foundation and blending it downwards like sun rays, has really helped. So for this one, let's make sure I get in that corner too. It tends to be a dark spot for people. And we're gonna have a nice brightened complexion. But you can see, and this isn't too bad because I'm using a color that's maybe a shade lighter than my foundation. But you can see by just doing up here, it's casting that white shadow where you don't see it on this side because it's been blended. So we're gonna add a little more so that we can kind of fan that out. And a fan is a good way of kind of explaining it, just like a fan. So fan it out like a leaf. And you can go ahead, like when you're doing the fanning part, sometimes I use a brush just so that I can get the bristles to kind of push it out. But for my everyday look, I'm using my finger. But when I do go under the eye, I always use my finger and I always pat. So it's as simple as that. I got rid of the under eye tiredness. I fanned out that foundation or the concealer so that it's not just right here. And I used a color that's a 1 shade lighter than my foundation, and it's a lot better. I need my cheeks done, absolutely. You would do your bronzer or your blush, whatever you would choose next. But I really wanted to go over that because I feel like every person I look at right now that does like a full-on face makeup is using this really, really light, almost looks white, right under the eyes. And it doesn't go anywhere else. It just literally sits right here. And the light reflects right off of it. So every time I look at a picture, I'm like, oh my gosh, you're just shining like a light beam right under your eyes, and that's not what we want to do. So definitely think about how you apply your concealer and the color you're using, because it makes all the difference in the long run. I hope this helped, and I hope everybody is being safe out there and staying home so that we can all get back to our normal routines and see our clients again. Have a good night.